Hey, this is Jack Barksdale. Thanks for checking out the ETX ROCKS Show, featuring Jackie Darlene.
This is Boston Chris with another great episode of the ETX ROCKS Show.
Louise here.
Descript.
Featuring all genres and styles of entertainment.
And coming to on the ETX ROCKS.
Let's hear from Louise, please.
From the unheralded and unheard to the legends and beyond.
Out of the box, ETX ROCKS.
It's awesome.
We keep them coming.
$5, that's pocket change.
Well, hey, y'all, this is Haley McDaniel. Are y'all ready for this?
ETX ROCKS Show is the greatest show of all time, okay?
We are ETX ROCKS.
The ETX ROCKS Show is the best show of all time, say? The other shows, you're good, you're real good. But as long as we're around, you'll be second best, say?
Cut.
Hello, y'all. This is Ronnie Millsap, and thanks for tuning in to the ETX ROCKS Show.
Hey everybody, this is Sammy Brazier at the School of Music 101. We are a full-service music store. We service everything we sell here. We do guitar repair, strings, whatever. You need your intonation set on your guitar, bring it in. We do it right here. We sell new and used guitars, amp sets. Trade-ins are welcome. Bring your old gear in, get some new gear. Come on. We're doing guitar lessons, bass lessons, keyboard, drum, trumpet. We have some of the best teachers in East Texas. Terry Sager's been with us. Toby Phillips. I have Daryl Gann on keyboard. Val Nell. All styles of music. We like to have fun with music, and we teach them, songs that they want to learn, and maybe a little music theory mixed in there with it. But we try to make it fun. We have 2 recitals a year. We're also going to do a battle of the bands, a battle of the lead guitar players. We're starting a new program that's called Garage Band, and what we're going to do is we're going to get some of these young people together, and they can form a band. And after a couple of months of them rehearsing with a mentor as a band, we will let them play at a local venue and invite their parents out and things like that, just to try to make it fun for them. The first lesson is on us. It's free, so come on out, sign up. And by the way, we have a special this month. If you don't own a guitar, you don't own an instrument, we're going to furnish one for you so you can see if you like taking lessons and maybe you want to pursue it and buy that instrument or another one somewhere. We also have a video production company. If you need them to come out and do your birthday or your graduation, whatever, we can provide it for you. Here are some of the students that make us really feel good about teaching. Some of the success stories, for instance, Allie Venable. She started when she was 12 years old. She's doing records. She's playing all over the country. Reese Malone, who started when he was maybe 10 years old. I can remember him coming in at 10 years old and wanting me to show him some Jeff Beck. So I knew he was going to be good. The store is open weekdays Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturdays we're open 11 to 3. We're located in Hallsville, Texas, 300 East Main Street, Hallsville, Texas.
I'm Lauren's mom, Susan. We started lessons about 6 weeks ago, heard about him through a friend, and it's just been a really good experience. She's enjoyed it and looking forward to the next lesson.
Y'all come on down and see Amy. She's at the School of Music. You'll probably find her behind the cash register. The store number is 903-660-7333. If you can't get us there, call me on my cell, 903-987-9639. We are School of Music 101, where school is cool.
Hey guys, Boston Chris here with another great episode of the ETX ROCKS Show. And we are really, really excited about our guest this week. She comes to us from Fort Worth. She's actually originally from Waco, but you're living in Fort Worth now, right?
Yeah, I just moved there 4 months ago.
So 4 months in Fort Worth. She really loves it out there. But originally from Waco, and she's got a couple of gigs here in the East Texas area. We're really, really excited to have her with us. We have Jackie Darlene for you guys today. And I've got chills because I'm a huge fan of Jackie's, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about the background behind her and her music and the way she does the things she does. But before we get to Jackie, I just want to say, wherever you're listening or watching us today, make sure you hit that subscribe button or like button or follow button wherever you're at. If it's YouTube, if it's iTunes, Google Play, wherever you happen to be. It's all free, and we definitely appreciate the support. And Jackie Darlene being here, this is actually October 6th right now, and we're just it's still kind of in shock over the whole Las Vegas thing, and I definitely want to continue to send our prayers out to anybody affected by that. I know, being in the music business, I'm sure we both have friends that were affected out there. I don't know if you did, but
yeah, there's a lot of bands. I'm friends with some of their band members that were out there, right. And keep seeing Facebook posts and people's stories of what they experienced when it happened. Right. It's so scary.
It really is, and I just want to make sure that we send our prayers out and condolences to those that lost their lives as well. Definitely want to take care of that. But we have Jackie Darlene in the house. Played in Mount Pleasant last night. She's playing in Athens tonight. And we're just really stoked to have her. And she has her guitar, so that means she's going to play for us today too, which is even more exciting. So just to give you an idea what we do on the ETX Rock Show, our mission is kind of to tell folks, not only your fans, but maybe new fans of Jackie Darlene, kind of the story behind your music. What makes you tick as a songwriter and all of that kind of stuff. We try to shine a light on the side of the artist that a lot of people don't focus on. So we kind of want to humanize you in a way, I guess.
That's
maybe.
fine. That's what I'm here for.
Awesome. So you're going to play a song for us. Tell us a little bit about the first song you're going to play. Do you know what you're going to do yet?
I hadn't decided, but I figure I could do Courage since we just talked about that one a minute ago.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And this is the new single, right? Is this going to be a single?
Well, I'm sort of on the fence about, how to go about releasing singles these days.
Right.
Just because everything's so changing
Yeah.
all the time. I definitely haven't hired any radio promotion for it. Right now, radio stations are still spinning Why Do I Cry, which is the first single I released last fall.
Right.
But as far as kickstarting a new radio promotion thing, I don't know that I'll do that with this song. I know it hadn't been spotlighted since that EP released, so I wanted to put some, push behind it so people could hear it.
Right.
And
But this is the song that you're pushing on social media.
yes,
I
for
have
that
seen
reason.
right.
But a lot of people haven't. They've heard Why Do I Cry, or they've heard A Woman Worth Leaving,
Right.
or even the title track, Diamond in the Rough. But Courage is such a special song to me for so many reasons, and I don't think that song had been highlighted much. So until I record something new, I kind of wanted to highlight that for a few months.
And we were talking off camera. This is a great song because, lyrically, it's a little bit different perspective on the situation. It's basically a cheating song, which is, what country music is known for. But this song is actually in the perspective from the cheater and not the one that's been cheated on.
Right.
And I definitely want to ask you about how you came about that after you did the song. I want people to hear it first, and then we'll talk about how you came up with the concept for the song.
Sure.
So you guys check this out. This is Courage by Jackie Darlene.
I've lost friends, and I've hurt family from stupid mistakes and selfish I was wrong. At least I got the courage to say I was wrong.
All right, guys, so that was Courage by Jackie Darlene, and we're going to be right back with more from Jackie right after these messages from our sponsor.
That a rich girl like you, she ain't never tried. Hey, this is Scott Connor, and you're listening to East Texas Rocks. In the background, they're playing my brand new single, Ride With Me. You guys can find me at scottconnor.com. That's Connor, C-O-N-E-R, just one N. You can go to Facebook at Scott Connor Music. You can buy my music at CD Baby or iTunes. You can even listen to it at Spotify. Mostly, I just wanted to tell you guys I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you down there in Texas. And we appreciate East Texas Rocks. Take care. She cocked her pretty little head with a pretty smile in her eyes. She said that sounds pretty good, but you need to realize I'm just in town for a minute. I have the $10, but I just now spent it. And these fancy clothes, they belong to a friend of mine.
Hey guys, it's Katie Lynn, and thank you guys so much for tuning in to the ETX ROCKS Show.
All right, so we are back with more from Jackie Darlene. This is episode 193 of the ETX ROCKS Show. Cannot believe we've done that many, but we're really excited. Jackie Darlene is actually from music royalty, and we will definitely talk about that a little bit later on. But, you know, we've got Jackie here, so we want to kind of pick her brain on her music and her style of songwriting. I guess the first question, I mean, people are probably still kind of feeling the emotion of courage. So tell me what the inspiration was in going through your head while you're writing a song like that.
Well, it's definitely not about one specific situation, obviously, but one thing had happened that caused me to sit back and be like, I really need to write a song about just in general, like, I kind of screwed someone over a little bit,
right.
And it was a friend, and I was feeling heavy remorse for that, and I felt heavy remorse in my past for lots of different things I had done. We all make mistakes, you know, right. We're all human, and so this song is probably, even though I wrote it in like 30 minutes, it was 10 years in the making.
Yeah.
So it was things that had happened over the last 10 years that I wrote the song about, and it just being honesty and, you know, having a remorse and admitting you were wrong releases a huge weight off your shoulders.
I think it's cool in the world of music too, because again, it's not typical, it's not something you hear every day, but it's still very relevant. I mean, everybody feels guilt, everybody feels sorry, everybody feels remorse, everybody makes mistakes. I know, it's hard to admit, but yeah, we do. But it's cool to hear from the perspective of a songwriter now that has the courage to put that into a song.
Yeah.
No pun intended, or maybe it was, I don't know. But I think it's cool. I mean, you do that a lot in what you're writing and what you're feeling. And I think it's important for a songwriter to make people feel something. I think you definitely have that knack.
That's
sure.
My overall goal, for
right.
sure. It's not to make money. It's, of course, you know, that'd be great one
yeah,
day. We
absolutely.
all want to make money. But I definitely just want to speak to the condition of the heart. Like,
right.
the things we all struggle with, because life is not easy. And I've found that being honest in my music and in everything that I do, and that didn't happen overnight. I haven't always been that way. You know, when I was an immature adolescent, I wasn't that way. I think that that's something that just comes with maturity. But honesty in everything you do is my overall goal. And that's what I try to do in my lyrics and my writing. And a lot of women don't do that in music.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of males and females don't in music in general. But I just feel like that's something that's essential.
Well, I mean, it's real life, you know.
Yeah.
It's all about real life, and there's nothing fake about it. You know
right.
what I mean? And it's awesome. As a fan listening to that, it's just a great vibe. I guess is the best way to put it. But you're still a fairly young lady, but you've got a lifetime of experience in music already. Just a little bit of background, she started playing guitar at 12, is that right?
Yes.
And in middle school, she was in an indie duo.
Yes.
And then moved on to a Christian rock band in high school.
I like to try out different things, you could say.
And I mean, now we would say that you're probably an Americana artist, I guess. I mean, I know that's kind of the cool thing now, but...
I was doing that before it was cool. Like, I didn't even know. I was Americana before, like, when I started writing songs. Like, the whole first 10 years of my life. And I didn't even know country, like Texas country, was a thing until I was 20.
Right.
So, all these years that people have been like, what's your genre? And I never had an answer. Well, it's been Americana.
Isn't that the worst question in the world, though? What's your genre?
It is. But a lot of people have an answer for it.
Yeah.
A lot of people can say, I'm a country artist, or I play blues, or I play jazz. And with me...
And I think the industry forces you to have to answer that question.
Yeah.
And I think that's just wrong, because good music is good music. It doesn't need a label.
Well, that's why Americana is so great. It's because the true meaning of Americana is American influenced music.
Right.
And so that leaves so much room for diversity.
Right.
And so my music's always been that.
And
But
that's
I never had a word for it.
And that's what's cool about music anyways, because, and we've said this on the show before, every artist, especially if you're a songwriter, every songwriter / artist has a unique set of influences and inspirations. Very infrequently do you find somebody that have the same set.
Yeah.
And because of that, everybody's sound is different. I don't care who you are, especially in Americana. Maybe not so much in overproduced Nashville. I love you guys, by the way, but sorry. But, you know, for example, you know, Bonnie Raitt, Sean McConnell, David Ramirez. Some of these names are not typical names that you hear, especially from a female artist, which I think is super cool. So to hear who your influences are and then listening to your music as a fan, it's like, okay, yeah, I see that.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does. But see, like personally, I'm listening to your music, and I know a lot of artists don't like to hear someone compare their style or whatever, but like I hear like Martina McBride and like Janis Joplin kind of mixture together, just in different songs.
I think in a couple years you'll be saying, depending on the EP I'm listening to.
Let's hope so, because yeah, I mean, you listen to her current EP, which is called
Diamond
in the Rough. That's right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is it Diamond in the Rough or Diamonds in the Rough?
Diamond in the Rough.
Okay, so it's the same as the song that's on it as well.
Right.
It's a great EP. It's got like 6 songs on it, I think, and each one is completely different, its own lane, its own style. And one of the songs is Guilty, which is an old Randy Newman song that is just haunting in your style, just kind of grassroots, raw performance of that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, as a songwriter, because I know when you're a songwriter, if you're pitched a song or there's a song you like, it's kind of hard to include that with your originals. So, I mean, as a songwriter, what is it about not just that song, but any other song that you were to pick to include on an album or EP?
Well, I think the first time I heard this song, I was like, why haven't I heard this song before? This is an amazing tune.
Right.
And I just think not a lot of people my age know who Randy Newman are. They don't know who Randy Newman is, number one. And a lot of people my age don't even know who Bonnie Raitt is. And that's just like mind-blowing to me, number one.
Mm-hmm.
And this song specifically, it kind of fits the whole introspective thing you're talking about with the album.
It does.
And even Why Do I Cry is an introspective song. It's not me placing blame on the guy, it's saying the blame is on me.
Yeah.
Literally in the second verse it says the blame is on me because by now I should know that a love like this can't grow.
Right.
So that was the whole idea in the record. And even in Diamond in the Rough, if you just look for introspective lyrics in each song, they're there.
Right.
And this song fit that perfectly. And so with that also being another reason, and I could just hear the way I wanted to produce it in my head fit with the other songs, but in its own way.
Yeah, it's all about that, internal struggle.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what this record is about, is just kind of struggling with your own self, whether it's self-worth or self-stress, self-worry, all of those different things, or self-mistakes.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool because, like I said, people can relate to that. And a lot of artists are not traveling that road, that it's all about others. And I think it's a very selfless EP, and I think, how long has it been out?
It'll
Came
be
out
a
over the
year,
fall?
November 4th.
Okay, so yeah.
Almost a year.
Very cool, and hopefully people will start playing these songs more on the radio, because people need to hear this stuff, especially Courage, and I know that's the one that you're pushing right now, but we've played Courage a couple of times now on the Boston Chris Hour on Tuesdays, and people are just loving the heck out of that song when we play it. So
that's awesome.
You guys need to check this stuff out, and we'll tell you at the end of the episode where you can find all of her music and stuff like that. And like I said, you started real early in this, and I saw something somewhere that you learned to play guitar from a cartoon book. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, I had cartoons on the front. I was just we had a music room at the house because my whole family plays music, and I begged and begged for a guitar, and one day my mom picked me up from school and it was in the back seat, and so I took it home and just went downstairs. I mean, they didn't give me anything else. They just gave me the guitar, and they were like, here you go, like, you're on your own, basically. Right. Which I like that. I respect that they made me figure it out for myself.
Right.
That put more meaning into all of it.
Yeah.
And so I went in the music room and just fished around for, I'd seen a guitar lesson book in there. So once I found it, I just would sit up in my room and just practice, and till I finally figured it out.
Right. Just unbelievable stuff. For someone that does not play, I can't imagine just doing that, picking up a guitar and
I was determined.
Making it happen. Yeah, and I hear that a lot. You just have to make it happen. I can barely click a pen in rhythm, so
you see my calluses here. You have to be willing to put in pain.
Oh, I know. I like my fingers.
That was the hardest part whenever I first started, was the calluses thing. I was like, this hurts so bad.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, we mentioned earlier in the show that you come from music royalty, and I'm going to try to explain what that means now. So, Jackie Darlene's grandfather is the incomparable Whitey Shafer, and Whitey has written songs like All My Exes Live in Texas and Does Fort Worth Ever Cross Your Mind? I'd Never Go Around Mirrors, just dozens and dozens of hits. And I won't talk too much about him because I know that a lot of folks bring that up with you. But I have one question I do want to ask. As an artist in your own right, especially a female artist in Texas, how much pressure and struggle do you feel being Whitey Shafer's granddaughter, trying to make it on your own accord?
Well, a lot of people still don't know that that's even my grandfather, and I don't try to make it a point to tell everybody that, because what difference does it make? If I'm a good songwriter, they'll like my music, and if I'm not, they won't. Right. And that's what it ultimately comes down to. Your dad could be freaking anybody, but if your stuff isn't good, they're not going to buy into it, But I think if I was specifically trying to accomplish a lot in the country songwriting realm, I would feel a lot of pressure, especially if I was trying to work up in Nashville a lot. And I felt that when I was up there for a few different meetings, and I felt that from different business people I've talked to before.
Right.
But I know in my heart that's not where I'm supposed to be, and that's not the road I'm supposed to go down. So I try not to think about it. I try not to let it be.
Right.
I don't like pressure. I don't like things to be. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. I just like to go with the flow.
Right.
And do what I'm going to do, and write what I'm going to write, and just see what happens.
And just so you guys know, they just actually did a duet of one of Whitey's old songs, I Never Go Around Mirrors, that is just phenomenal. And you guys can check that out on YouTube. She has a YouTube channel, and it's on there. It's just incredible. Hearing y'all's voices and the way they mesh, and knowing that you're related in blood and all that. It's just so whose idea was that to do that duet?
Well, it was mine, but I hadn't thought about it before until I was visiting with him up in Nashville. He lives in Ridgetop. It's just 20 minutes north of Nashville. Right. And we were sitting around his kitchen table and just passing around the guitar, and he just started singing that song. And I had sang that song here in Texas because everybody covers it, right. All the guy artists anyways. And I had played it as a duet with some of my friends down here just for fun. And I would always take the second verse. And so when we were sitting there playing it around the table, I said, I'll take the second verse. I took the second verse, and then I sang harmonies with them.
Wow.
And I was just like, I just said, would you ever be interested in cutting this with me, you know, as a duet?
Wow.
And he just said, well, yeah. Like, he seemed surprised that I asked the question. I was surprised I asked the question, too, because it had never really crossed my mind.
So is this song actually on the EP as well?
No.
So when is that going to happen? You have to make that happen.
Well, there's the guy that produced it. His name's Kenny Lamb. He's at the Love Shack Studios in Nashville, right. And I have a specific set of songs that I want to record with him right. in the future, and they're very country. Because I've written a lot of country tunes, and I've written a lot of semi-rock tunes, and all over. My songwriting's all over the place. I can write any different style. But I have a set specifically that I want to record with Kenny, and I think that would be the time where I would put the song on there, because then it would make sense
right.
that the whole thing was recorded at the Love Shack.
Yeah.
So it'd be, it would feature this song, but I don't know that it would be anytime soon.
Is it available anywhere, digitally even?
The song?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's on iTunes,
okay.
It's on Spotify.
Very cool. So you're basically just wanting to make a country record and then include that on there.
When I do make a country record.
So, I mean, you're actually strategizing over genre. So like I have rock songs, so I'm going to make a rock album someday.
Right.
I have country songs, I'm going to make a country album someday.
Like this next album is going to be Americana rock.
Okay, very cool. And so what would you consider the first one?
It's technically Americana, but it's marketable to country.
I agree.
Which is great.
Yeah, it's almost like crossover appeal.
Yeah, I don't want to steer so far away from one thing or the other that I can only be marketable in one place.
Right.
So.
When you're writing, are you thinking that way?
No.
No, you're just pouring out.
I'm just pouring out and just writing what feels right.
Right.
And writing for each individual song and not necessarily for a sound or, and then this Americana album I'm going to record, the songs all just happen to be kind of fit in the same thing, just like this one. But I didn't have a sound in mind when I was writing them.
And you predominantly perform live as a solo artist, right?
Yeah.
So, when you go into the studio to record, you have studio musicians or bandmates or whatever. And so that's a little bit different than what you're doing live, right?
Yeah.
So how does the sound change between because typically a songwriter will sit down and write their song with an acoustic guitar or a piano or whatever their bass instrument is, and then they'll add in all the full band stuff later. So as a solo artist, a predominantly solo artist, is that stuff that's kind of happening only in the studio, or are you writing those parts beforehand?
Well, since this is the first album I've ever recorded, I had been in the studio before. I did a Christian rock album in high school, at demos before then. Right. But this is the first album I went in, and they were all my songs, and we put them together. To be honest, I produced it equally with Ben and Josh. Josh did a lot of the producing side as far as lead melody parts. So whenever I came in, I did the acoustic tracks, just me and my guitar, and then he worked on them for a few days by himself and just sent stuff to me, and I was like, wow, that sounds amazing. So he was the brains behind a lot of the lead parts and the overall sound of the song. So that's been my experience so far. And then whenever I brought in musicians to, layer some things on, I would ask them to do certain things, but it wasn't anything I had planned out before.
Cool. And I know that that kind of concept changes from artist to artist. That's why I ask. And another thing I like to ask songwriters is, you know, as a songwriter, do you find yourself typically writing about situations and circumstances that you yourself have experienced, as opposed to some songwriters are better at, you know, being able to convey someone else's experiences, or are you able to do both?
I'd like to say I can do both, and that's what makes a good songwriter.
Right.
Being able to, like, take Lori McKenna for instance. Yep. She's written so many songs. I couldn't tell you how many songs she's written. She's written dozens and dozens of songs. She hasn't lived every single song she's written.
Right.
The reason I know that is because I've done a lot of research on her, and some of the songs don't match up with her life. But that makes her a great songwriter, though. She can put herself in someone else's shoes and write a whole story.
Yeah.
You know?
It's incredible stuff.
I really look up to that, and I'm trying to do that. I've done it with a few different songs so far. Most of them are personal things I have gone through.
Right.
Of course, you know, I'm only 23, so there's still time for growing and writing.
It's unbelievable that you're only 23. Everything that you've actually done already, you know, and the maturity in your music is way beyond that as well. I mean, it's when I first heard about you, I think Austin Lane was the first one that told me about Jackie Darlene. I was just like, I always felt like you were like early 30s.
Everyone thinks that at first, but I'll tell you, like, I did have to grow up a little fast.
Right.
You'll hear about it in my next album. A lot of the things I went through starting when I was 14. This album is a 10-year in the making album, as far as the songs go.
Right.
It's the name of the album is going to be After All This Time, and that's a new song I have that I'm going to start pushing a little bit. But the first song on the album was written when I was 14.
Wow.
And then there's songs that just throughout the last 10 years that I've written that kind of tell the story a little bit. But, you know, I haven't lived with my parents. Didn't live with them from the time I was 14 until just this last year. My mom moved up to Fort Worth with me. But during all of high school, I was just kind of floating around. My parents were having issues, and it was a lot heavier than just me saying my parents were having issues. I mean, it was serious stuff, but it did make me grow up a little faster.
And I know something like that can be very traumatic on a human, but also on an artist. It can kind of stifle your creativity as well. And I've read a little bit about you, and that is kind of what happened to you at this moment in your life. You know, all of your music kind of went to the back shelf for a while. And what I think is really cool, if I'm reading what I read is true, is that God kind of brought you back to your music. And your faith is what kind of brought you back. So tell me what it was like in that part of your life where you're going through all this trauma and reminders on a daily basis, and then God kind of reminds you of what you were meant to be, what you were put here to be. What's it like living kind of like that vessel for God, and then bringing it to fruition again?
It wasn't even like an option where I had to say, am I going to do this or not? It was the only way I could cope, was to write. It was the only way I could find therapy. So I didn't stray from my music. I know that sometimes those traumatic things can stifle creativity, but for me it did the opposite.
Okay.
And it was very emotional. Like, I was literally be crying while I'm writing a song, like literally dealing with it and coping with it while I'm writing the song. And I just try to remind myself this whole time that, you know, God's purpose for my life was this. So I never questioned that it was anything else.
Right.
And so when I did the Christian rock thing, we wanted to bring that element to the rock scene in our town.
Right.
And so we'd play at all the same venues where all these other metal bands were playing that weren't exactly bringing the same message.
Right.
But we were trying to bring that there, and that helped me fight through all of it, and it helped keep me distracted to an extent as well.
So it was therapy.
Yeah.
Basically.
It was all therapy.
And we hear that so many times, you know, where music is the therapeutic value, and what pulls you back to where you're grounded again.
Yeah.
And you can face things logically, I guess, in a way, instead of just spiraling out of control.
It kept me from making bad decisions.
Right.
I say bad because I've made bad decisions,
Right.
but it kind of kept my head above the water, and I stayed involved in church and helped me, because if I was going to be in a Christian rock band, I couldn't be out partying every weekend.
Right.
So I had to hold a certain amount of my reputation.
Very cool. All right, so we were talking about Jackie's influences a little bit earlier, and one of those names that stood out to me is Sean McConnell. And anybody who's following me on social media or listening to the ETX ROCKS Show, you probably know my unhealthy obsession with Sean McConnell. So I know artists have, a lot of times they'll have a different set of influences for songwriting as opposed to being a performer or a vocalist or a musician. But I imagine with Sean, it's probably across the board, because this guy is a phenomenal singer, he's a phenomenal guitarist, he's a phenomenal songwriter. So what about Sean influences you the most? Which side of him?
Well, it started his spirituality.
Yeah.
I first started listening to him when I was about 17, which was almost 7 years ago.
You're so lucky.
I don't know how I got lucky to stumble across him before I even knew. I didn't even know. That's I knew who he was, and I knew who David Ramirez was before I knew what Texas country was. That's the stuff I was listening to in my teenage years, and I think he had a few songs off of his earlier albums that really touched me, spiritually.
Right.
So that was one major thing, because at the time I was dealing with a lot of spiritual things in my life.
Right.
And turning to my spirituality to get me through things. But his songwriting is amazing.
Yeah.
It's incomparable to anybody. I mean, not comparable as in who's better, but it's just, he has his own style.
It's
like
so
Lauren
good.
McKenna has
I mean,
her own style.
I don't think I've heard a song written by him yet that I don't like, and that's really unusual for me, because normally I'll go through someone's catalog and I can get through the first verse and not like the song, and I'll just move on to the next. With Sean, I mean, my YouTube playlist is just dotted with his stuff. The songwriting element to him is just so powerful.
Yeah.
He knows what to say. He's got a song called "Praise the Lord." Have you heard "Praise the Lord"?
Yeah.
Just it explains the struggle between faith and human so well. It's do you have faith just because you're afraid? That's probably not good, right? And he puts this into a song well, here's why you feel that way. It's thank you, Sean McConnell.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that's kind of what I gravitate towards anyway, is that singer-songwriter element, which is why I like Jackie Darlene, because you're the same way. You make me feel something, and that's important. If I listen to music and don't feel anything, then it's not music, in my opinion. So.
Right. I'm a bigger fan of his older stuff. I like his new stuff too.
Right.
But his older stuff is what I really connected with more than anything.
Yeah, and I mean, I've listened to it all. His new record's called Undone, and it's an acoustic version of his previous record, the one right before it. And it's all acoustic, all dumbed down, all raw. It's so cool. And there's Laurie McKenna duet on there.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Have you heard that song?
Yep. I was really excited when I saw they were doing that.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way, my two favorite songwriters.
Yeah, I didn't know until he told me over the phone. When we were interviewing him, he's like, yeah, there's going to be a bonus track on this with Laurie McKenna. And I was like, get out of here. Because I keep hearing Laurie McKenna's name everywhere. And tweet me back, Laurie. All right, so you guys out there, if you're following along with the ETX ROCKS Show, you know that we like to play a game with our guests. And today is no different. We're going to play a game with Jackie, and I'm going to turn my laptop so she can't see the questions. But we're going to play What the Heck with Jackie this week. And basically, Jackie, the way this game works is I'm just going to ask you 10 questions. Some of them might be ridiculous questions. It's all PG, so don't worry about that. And I just want you to tell me the first thing that pops into your brain.
Sure.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, so this is What the Heck with Jackie Darlene. Okay, the first one, You can only listen to one song for the rest of your life. What song is it?
Amazing Grace.
Really?
I guess so, yeah.
Is there a specific version that you would choose?
Just the standard.
Okay. All right, so number 2, you're stranded on a deserted island. Okay, you can pick any famous person alive or dead to be deserted with you there. So number 1, who is it? And number 2, what 3 items would you need to entertain that person?
Wow, I've never thought of that before. You said any famous person, dead or alive.
Yep.
Probably Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
Because I feel like he would know what to do on the island. You know, he's very like handyman kind of guy.
Okay.
Wild man.
Right.
And 3 things I'd need to entertain him. Me, myself, and I.
There you
Maybe
go.
a guitar.
So a guitar, and me, and myself.
That's right.
Very
Yeah.
cool. I don't know why Matthew McConaughey always gets the handyman jobs when Tim Taylor is always available. All right, number 3. So if evolution is true, why do you think the sloth made the cut?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I don't know either. It's like, okay, if evolution were true, then you would think that the sloth would not exist.
They serve a purpose, right?
I don't know. What is it?
What's the purpose of flies? Or mosquitoes?
I don't know.
There's a lot of things I could ask that.
Well, I mean, mosquitoes, the purpose could be population control.
Mosquitoes are horrible.
Well, they kill more people than any other animal on the planet. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yes. That's a good trivia question to ask at bars to make money.
So they kill a lot of people in Africa?
Yeah.
I see. So they can pass malaria?
Yes.
Interesting. So what makes people think they can't pass Lyme disease?
I don't know. I think that's the tick's job.
Well, that's my question. I already know the answer to that question is that they can.
They can? I didn't know that.
You don't have to put that in the video, but they can, and so can fleas.
Okay.
Something
Right.
America has yet.
So that was number 3. Number 4. Okay, so on average, weekly, how often do you hurt yourself attempting to dance in the shower?
I never dance in the shower.
Okay,
Ever.
so
So
never.
0.
All right. All right, number 5. If you were a cannibal, do you think clowns would taste funny?
No. That's a funny question.
All right, so number 6. What do you think cats dream about?
Yarn and food. They love food.
That's
That's
true.
all they want all the time. They just want to sleep and eat all the time.
And
Like
yarn.
that one right there.
Yarn,
Sleep.
yeah, I'm telling you, that's all they do. It's so true. All right, so number 7. If you were a worm, how long do you think you'd be?
Depends on what kind of worm I am. Am I an earthworm? Am I an inchworm?
Well, an inchworm would be an easy answer.
Yeah, right.
So we'll say earthworm just to make it harder.
I mean, earthworms live, the survival of the fittest, right? But
Yeah.
I would say I would grow to be pretty long. I'm a survivor.
Okay. So do you know how long exactly?
Let's just say 6 inches.
Okay, 6 inches. All right, number 8. Why is the alphabet in the order it is? Do you think it's possibly because of the song?
Maybe.
Because the song, I mean, it's in pretty good order.
That's the English alphabet, right?
Right,
Or is
yeah.
the alphabet the same in all languages?
I've never heard the song from other languages, so.
Well, then it's probably definitely an English thing and a rhyming thing.
Yeah, because it does rhyme.
Right.
It's very
And there's no
creepy.
way that just coincidentally happened.
Right, so they must have had the song first, I think.
Yes, so I would have to agree with you in saying that it's probably because to get it to rhyme.
Okay. Number 9. Okay, so 4 out of 5 people suffer from diarrhea. Do you think that means the 5th person enjoys it?
Or maybe the 5th person doesn't get it.
That just doesn't get diarrhea at all. Like doesn't get it, like understand it, or just doesn't get it?
Doesn't get the sickness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they couldn't know whether they suffer or not, or
Right.
if they would. Okay.
I would be that fifth person.
Nice. Lucky you.
Pretty lucky.
And she's actually with child right now, so that's even better. All right, last one, number 10. All right, so Donald Duck never wears pants. Like, have you ever?
I never noticed that.
But he doesn't. Trust me, we've checked, we researched it, and so I've never seen him wear pants. So why do you think he wraps himself in a towel when he gets out of the shower?
I don't know. You'd have to ask the people that did the art.
So like,
Disney.
we'd have to ask Disney.
Yeah.
But you don't. I mean, obviously we'd have to ask them. But why do you think they did it that way? Because it doesn't make sense. He doesn't wear pants, so it's not like he has to cover up after a shower.
Right. I don't know. Probably just to teach modesty.
Then why not just have him wear pants?
That's a great question. I don't have the answer to.
I think it's just because maybe, and I've never said this on the air before, but I think maybe it's just because when he takes a shower, maybe it does different things to his feathers where you can see stuff you couldn't see when he was dry. Maybe.
Maybe, or maybe because when his feathers get wet, he's got to dry them off faster, and a towel helps with drying off.
Well, true, but I mean, we don't wrap ourselves in a towel to dry ourselves off. It's just a modesty thing.
Right.
We do this to dry, you know.
Maybe he just thinks it's cool.
Yeah, could be. Maybe he saw it in a movie or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was What the Heck with Jackie Darlene. Thanks for being a good sport. That was a lot of fun.
Sorry I didn't have all the answers.
Well, you know, maybe you'll look them up and you can email them to us.
Those are very interesting questions.
I'm telling you. And if you think of any questions we can use in the future, we definitely will do that.
Okay, I will.
So Jackie actually is going to play another song for us, and she mentioned the title of the song earlier in the episode. This is actually going to be the title track to your next record that you're working on. Hopefully be ready by next spring.
Yeah, that's the goal.
So tell us the name of the song again and the story behind it.
So it's called After All This Time, and like I said earlier, the new album is a span of songs from a decade old to now. So, you know, they started when I was 14, 15, and then 18, 19, 20 until now, all these songs. And one thing I've learned after all this time, no pun intended, one thing I've learned is that life's challenges are not going to get any easier.
Right.
And I always thought when things were really hard, I was always asking myself, like, when is the rain going to let up? Like, when is it just going to get easy? Because it seems like all these other people have it down, you know? Like, why can't I have that? And I've learned that that's never going to happen. It's just how you deal with the cards you've been dealt that gets easier as you mature. Just like a poker player gets better at poker the longer they play.
Right.
Hopefully, as you mature, you get better at life and dealing with life's challenges.
And in this business, I mean, you can be stopped on a dime very quickly. You might be thinking you're doing the right thing, and then, you know, God or whatever just puts the brakes on it, and you're left there wondering why, and, you know, the frustration and all of that. Being your friend on Facebook, I see you go through that sometimes. And, you know.
That's what spurred the beginning of me writing this song.
Okay.
One of the last things that happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I would say, as a fan of yours, that you're on the right track. I would say when you're in that frustrating state, just remember that you have people out there that believe in you and what you're doing right now. That's what I would say to you.
Thank you.
I didn't comment on that post because I wanted to tell you that in person instead, because I thought it would mean more. But so this song is called After All This Time. It's going to be the title track of the new, is this an album or an EP?
An album.
Full-length album finally from Jackie Darlene. So y'all check this out. This is After All This Time.
There's no telling where I might be. There's just some things you can't foresee, like a newborn baby on Halloween. Train rolls by, it's another day. The sun goes down, nothing left to say. All my tears have all run dry, and I'm still here after all this time. I'm working hard to get my fill. Some days they just don't seem real. I don't think I'll ever change. The highway's gonna call my name. The train rolls by, it's another day. The sun goes down, nothing left to say. All my tears have all run dry, and I'm still here after all this time. Yeah, I'm still here after all this time.
All right, guys, so that was After All This Time by Jackie Darlene. Wow, really, really cool stuff. You
Thanks,
say
Billy.
Johnny Cash, I say Dolly Parton.
I don't think it's Johnny Cash style. My brother said that.
It just sounds
That's
like an
right.
old Dolly Parton, like, story song, like Jolene or Joshua, those old songs that she did.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Gives me that vibe. If you, like I said off camera, if you told me that was written by Dolly, I believe you.
Really?
So, yeah, really cool stuff. After All This Time is going to be the name of the new record. It'll be out hopefully sometime in the spring of 2018. So tell us where folks can find your current EP as well as your social media and stuff like that.
You can find me, all my music is on iTunes, Spotify, etc. Basically every outlet you
Right.
can download music, it's on. And then find me personally, I'm on Facebook. You might find my personal page, but if you out there have ever reached the friend limit of 5,000, you know the struggle. So you don't have to add me on my personal one, because I can't promise I'll accept it. Because if you know the struggle, you know that you can only accept so many people if you've already reached your limit. So find my music page. Search Jackie Darlene under the Pages tab. I interact on there just as much as I do on my personal one as far as shows go. I promote it all the same. And I also respond to inquiries on there as well. And Instagram. All my tags for Instagram, Facebook, everything is Jackie Darlene Music. But on Twitter, I think it's Jackie Darlene Tex. It's TX.
Yeah. Yep, you got it right. And you forgot the webpage, JackieDarlene.com.
I just gotta have a website. It's JackieDarlene.com.
Really cool website too. You can get all of the social media from there. I think you have tour dates and biography and all of that stuff on there. Where would you send somebody that is a venue that's looking to book you?
There's a booking tab, or there's a contact tab on my website, and that has the correct email.
So JackieDarlene.com if you're a venue and you want to book Jackie for your show or your venue or your private party or whatever you need her for. I'm sure she's down to play your venue. So JackieDarlene.com, it's the contact tab, so it's probably JackieDarlene.com/contact. Probably.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's got a really cool biography on there too that you guys should check out. And we'll include a piece of that biography here in the description, as well as a link to her webpage. And make sure you're following along with Jackie on all of her social medias, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Facebook and Instagram is Jackie Darlene Music, and Twitter is Jackie Darlene TX. So that always supports the artist in a major, major way. So, and it's free. So how about that? So you guys have been tuned in to the 193rd episode of the ETX Rocks, featuring Jackie Darlene for the first time. Super excited that she was here. Thank you for your time and coming and visiting with us today.
I'm really glad I made it out.
Did you have fun?
I did,
Very
yeah.
cool.
I
So-
would say I'd do this again in the future.
Awesome. So we will definitely bring her back when the record is out, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be a good time.
All right, so around the spring, be looking for Jackie Darlene Part 2. That'll be a lot of fun. If you're following along with us or tuned in with us for the first time, again, please make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you're listening. I don't care which app. I know we're on like 20 of them or whatever, but wherever you are, subscribe or follow. That's completely free, especially on YouTube. We're really trying to get our YouTube subscribers up there. So I think we're at like 330 right now, which is awesome, but we'd love to get to 1,000 by the end of the year, I think is the goal. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can find us at ETX Rocks. Hit that like or follow button there. And we're bringing content to all three of those platforms continuously. I never sleep, ask anybody. So make sure you follow along with us. We're keeping you guys entertained, I promise you. As we always say on the show, we want to thank you guys out there for supporting live music in all genres, all styles.
ETX Rocks.
That's right.
Howdy folks, this is Aaron Watson.
This is Bree Bagwell.
This is Jake. And this is Walter from Rocky Queen.
This is Curtis Grimes.
Monty Pittman.
This is Doug Supernon.
I'm Heather Little.
This is Rob Redwine.
Ho! Hey folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hey guys, I'm Katie Lynn, and make sure to tune in to ETX Rocks with
Boston Chris.
Hello, y'all. This is Ronnie Millsap, and thanks for tuning in to the ETX ROCKS Show.
Tough guy. Ho!
Hey guys, we're Black Top Mojo, and thank you for tuning in to ETX Rocks.